Hello, hello, test, test, test. Good evening and welcome to the show. If you could give me a mic level check, make sure everything's good, my production folks, and let me know if it's okay. I'd appreciate it. Send me a message. Good evening, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, I got the okay. Everything sounds good. GG's. JG's. All right, here we are. It has been a long, long time. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the camera and turn that off. Hey, look at me. There I am. Honka, honka, honka. So I'm back. It's been a minute. Life pulls you and drags you in many different ways. I am your host. I'm Steve. I've got on my regalia here in purple. It looks kind of blue, but it's actually purple. It's all purple. For my alma mater. I am just a touch under the weather. Got a little bit of a kind of a head cold thing going on. So yeah. I'm just going to give you a quick update. And then we're going to the comments. I love reading comments, so we're just going to go to that. And I'm going to be looking around to my side here because I'm checking levels. I'm checking for comments if there are any. Probably won't be any tonight because it's been a long time and it takes a while to kind of get things kicked in again. So people often ask me how I'm doing. I'm doing really well. You want to know about the PVCs? Let's talk about the PVCs. It's still going well. I am still doing everything I talked about in my last video that came out a while back. Still doing all those things. I go to the gym almost every day. I do the treadie, and I lift really heavy maybe once a week. Well, hello, Teepee. Hello, Teepee. Teepee, my kitty's here. You guys want to see Teepee? Come here, Teepee. Come here. Come here, Teepee. Come say hi to everybody. Come on. Come here. Whoa. There's Teepee. I don't want him to step on my keyboard. There you go. That's Tippy's tail. Yep. Tippy is here. Tippy's always here. Tippy likes to visit. But then he leaves. He comes in just to say hi and then he takes off. So anyway, everything's going really well with me with the PVCs, packs, SVT. I haven't had SVT. God, I don't even remember the last time it was. I really don't remember. I don't know that I've had any packs either. I've had some PVCs in here. And I know there's been a couple times like when I've gotten sick, I've noticed the PVCs. But as a general rule, I'm not really feeling PVCs really at all. None that I notice. I get to do all the things I want to do, which is always got a little something on my shirt there. There's always something that we talk about on this channel is like quality of life. You know what PVCs do for you. I'm traveling. I've been to New York many times. I went and saw Mandy Patinkin up north. Never thought about PVCs. Just doing a lot of things, and that's when you figure out how to put the cap on these things, life gets a lot better. So, as many as you know, many of you know, just how difficult it is to manage life. The quality of life with these things. So that's my brief update. I'm going to stop bouncing my table so my camera doesn't go on us. So I'm just going to move into comments. This is my favorite part. I love the comments. So let's take a look and see what folks are saying. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we are. Let's make this interactive so I can read through it. So I just posted a short asking people if they suffered from PVCs, how they manage, what works for them. Everybody's still wondering. There's still a ton of people out there that are like, what are the PVCs? What can I do for the PVCs? So, and I've talked about enough of mine stuff. You can go back to the video, and some of the video stuff may be up here. So, feel free to watch some of the older stuff. I'm going to move this window down so I can see it appropriately. Okay. So this is a response to my newest short, and this is Thaddeus 1 2 3 4, and this was just an hour ago. Awesome. So they say magnesium oxide 500 milligrams a day helped me. I was getting over 2,000 a day. After 6 weeks on magnesium oxide, some days none. Worst days around a couple hundred. My PVCs was triggered by certain foods, sugar, and chocolate, and pickled foods and MSG. Well, there you go. There's always a theme. There's always a theme that we see for some folks, and that is food. I am a food. I get the food PVCs too. Definitely. So we get the bada bing, bada boop. Bop some boops. 4 days ago. Now, some of these are going to be older because I haven't done this in a while, and I'm hoping we can get through all these. But if we don't, that is okay. We got time to do it again. Super peace, love, unity. Okay. I know I'm not going to die, but I get afraid the symptoms will make an accident more likely, especially if I'm driving. Absolutely. Big concern for a lot of folks is they're going to die or this thing's going to flare up while they're driving, which most people won't take a long trip. Well, I shouldn't say most. There are a lot of people that won't take a long trip because of this fear. So even trip to a store can create this fear for some folks. So we get those being in the boops. So super, yeah, I feel you. Back when I made that video, that's an older one. It's not that way for me anymore. I can hop in a car and we can drive for hours. I think when we went to New York, I don't know how long I drove, but I drove and drove and drove, and I didn't worry about it. So there you go. Vince, 1229. Spinach. Yes, oxalates can cause arrhythmias by depositing crystals in the heart's conduction system, which is most prominent in severe systemic oxalasis caused by conditions like primary hyperloxuria. I'm trying to get these words right. This crystal buildup can lead to heart blocks, ventricular arrhythmias, and other cardiac issues like cardiomyopathy and heart failure. Elevated serum oxalate levels may also increase the risk of sudden cardiac death, particularly in patients on dialysis. It'd be great if you could post some documentation. That would be awesome. Just any research or anything like that to back that up would be great. I'd love to read that. You can just post it back underneath there. I'd love to read that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Angel Mena. I hope I get everybody's name as close to right as I can. I apologize, but if I get it wrong, just know it comes from a good place of trying. Okay. 20-year-old RH with PVCs have been getting around for 3 years. Already feels like poop. Yep, 22 years. See, 22. That would have been similar to what I had. Hi, Tippy. Can I get a Tippy check? Tippy check on aisle 3. Tippy's my kitty. He loves to be in here with me. But he wants me to do specific things I can't do right now. Are you going to eat my finger? He's going to eat my finger. It's okay. I'm delicious. That was roughly about the time I started my PVCs. And I'll tell you, the more you can figure out triggers, the more you can figure out how to manage, the better your life's going to be, in my opinion, because I didn't have the internet back when I was a young fella. We just had a doctor tell me, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Just ignore it. You're going to be fine. I was, but the quality of life at times was just horrible. So do some research, get out there, look around, find your triggers, find what works for you, listen to a bunch of people. And I always recommend, I don't consider myself an influencer. I never want to be an influencer. I'm not going to give you any 100% answers on a lot of things. I'm just telling you what works for me. Okay? And the stuff that I've read. But try to listen to a lot of people and go to a bunch of different PVC places and read and learn how to read research journals. And I can't remember the name of that free research journal place. Oh my gosh, I'll have to think about that. But learn how to read them. Because there is a lot of garbage out there. A lot of garbage. In my opinion. Excuse me. So, Angel, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for commenting on the video. You guys like the old videos. Look at that schmuck right there. You guys like those old videos. That's awesome. Well, and that was the idea behind this, was just to simply make stuff that people could just use. And I can even go back and watch sometimes, and I do. Just to remind myself now that I feel like, at least at this point in my life, I'm on the other side of the PVCs, PAX, and SVT. So, yeah. Let's see, I want to check something here. Okay. Did I get the bada boops? Yeah, I did. How many PVCs do you have? Asked Kings Zagros 5302. I'm going to go ahead and give you the bing bada boops. How many? I had that when they were considering me for ablation, I was at 23,000 a day, around in that area. And I never get the ablation. And I'm kind of happy I didn't now. Because back then it was hit or miss. Ablation's gotten so much better with the cold ablation. And the I forget the new one. I just listened to an article on this. There's a new kind that's way more effective. And a lot of times with ablations, the stories that I've read for people from the past is they get it and then they got to have it again. They got to have it again. And I always thought, well, it's because it failed. They didn't do it right. But actually, after doing some more research and stuff, it's because there's a possibility that there are multiple spots that don't always show up. At least that's my very unlearned explanation. So with this new ablation technique they have, it's a lot better. And that may have been a podcast or a video from Viva Longevity in the heart. So look up Viva Longevity and go through there and look and see what you can see about the heart. Michael Kessler, 4120. Every other beat, every 3 beats for hours, days, makes me cough. Has anyone else had the coughing sensation in long runs that last a long time? Eating seems to really bring mine on stronger. Been on a beta block for 27 years, 50 years of age. PVCs have just in the last year come on very strong. And each day for going on 3 weeks. They suck, and it makes it hard to perform daily tasks. Not sure what to do. Well, you're going to get a bada bing, bada boop, because you sound like about 40 other people that have been in here and that I've bumped into. Makes me cough. Okay, so your question, where was it? Has anyone else had the cough sensation and long runs that last a long time? Yes. I got the coughing sensation. I swear I've had everything. So, over the years, I am 54, Michael. So I'm a little older than you are. So yes, the coughing thing was a big deal. I really thought that had something to do with like being a malignant or something like that. Turns out it wasn't. I mean, I'm still alive. I've had them since my 20s. So that's 30 years. Over 30 years. So I've had that, and I had the long runs too that about made me very lightheaded. So I'd get them that would make me very lightheaded, and I would think I was going to pass out. So definitely have had that experience, Mike. Oh, Michael, sorry, I'm going to call you Michael. And I think there's a few videos back there where I actually talk about that. I'm not sure. I've made a few. I'm just not sure what's out there anymore. So you got a bing, bada, boop. I've been where you are, and I'm still standing, and I'm on the other side. My cats are going crazy. I'm sorry. Morgan M 53199. I feel like I'm reading off phone numbers. Steve, how are you doing now? I've kept up with all your videos, and while I was struggling, look forward to you uploading. I hope you're in good health, my friend. Yes, I am in good health. I'm in fine fettle. I leg press the stack at the gym. I don't even know what it is. I just put the pin in the bottom and go. What else? Bench is good. Arm curls are good. Feeling strong. I do have a problem with my back, though. I got like a nerve thing going on there, but it has nothing to do with PVCs. But overall, everything's looking good. Feel good. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not like anybody else. I don't have my days, but like I said, PAX and the SVT, I can't even remember the last time. PVCs, if I don't feel well, like if I get like a cold, like I think it was last year, I had pneumonia. And I didn't have a lot. I wasn't in the 20,000s a day or anything like that. But I could tell, I could feel them. I could feel the PVCs. But when I got better, they kind of went away. And I also was eating crap while I was sick. So I think some of that can be attributed to eating crap. But I feel good. Still eating the diet I talked about in that very video. That's still my diet. Though I eat more beans now, lentils and black beans. I just had black beans for supper. Although I got to be honest with you, beans, the magical fruit, right? And I find since I've upped, but if I maintain my diet, now I'm not perfect human being, so I get things messed up on my diet. But if I maintain my diet and I try to get about 100 grams of fiber a day, if I can do that, I feel pretty good. Plus, now that the winter months are here, I'm taking vitamin D, and I always, take more frequently my B12 this time of year as well. So, but I'm doing good. How are you, Morgan? I hope you can catch this one and respond to me. I'd love to hear from you. I always like to know how people are doing. This part's always fun for me, the comments. So, Alan Whitney. I'm just back from a visit to the emergency department in UK, having 3 episodes of PVCs, ectopic beats, and crazy pulse rates, each lasting 1 hour or so during the night. Ambulance came out at 5 a.m. this morning, by which time my heart was back to normal. Apart from the odd ectopic, a lot of tests at the hospital. Doctor says, all normal, must be anxiety. Waking up in early hours by a crazy heart rhythm is not anxiety, surely. I'm going to give you about a bing, bada boo. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about this one because this used to happen to me. I used to wake up in the middle of the night with SVT. My heart rate would be over 200, sometimes 220, somewhere in there, I think. And I went to the doctor. Everything was fine. Your heart's healthy. You couldn't catch anything. And so, you got to kind of take it on yourself to say, okay, what's going on? Why is this crap happening to me? So for me, what I found out, when I'd wake up in the middle of the night, this was in response to my diet. At that time, I wasn't eating the way I was supposed to. And that's been moons ago, right? Not that video, but moons ago. I just wasn't eating right. I was missing essential nutrients from the foods, right? Or even just a vitamin, So I kind of struggled through that. Wore the monitors here in the States. Trips to the doctor. Couldn't find anything. Everything was fine. And they always told me the same thing. It's stress. It's anxiety. We don't know what it is. Okay. So for me, it was food. I was just simply not eating enough damn food. So that's what I took into consideration and finally figured that out for myself. And there's vitamins out there. I think I have a short out there that talks about the vegan vitality vitamins. Those things were a miracle for a while for me before I became fully vegan. But well, no, I was vegan, but I was still figuring things out. No matter the case, they work great. So that was it. Now let's talk about anxiety for a second, because this comes up a lot. Doctors will use this as an excuse, I think, just to get you out of the office, because I think that's what happened to me over the years. Oh, it's just anxiety, move along. They're not going to kill you. Obviously, the PACs, and the PVCs and SVT haven't killed me. But anxiety is a real thing. And here's the problem with having like a heart thing and anxiety. When you go into fight or flight, you activate the sympathetic nervous system, right? This is a defensive mechanism for human beings to protect themselves. So when we do that, we activate certain parts of our body, ramp it up, our cardiovascular system, our respiratory system. All these things get ramped up and take energy, they take blood, they take adrenaline, they take all these things, right? Well, those are they create the stress hormones, right? So anxiety can definitely cause this stuff. It can exacerbate it. Is it the actual initial cause of this stuff? I have no idea. I don't think most people know yet. I don't think a lot of people know yet. But anxiety can, at the very least, exacerbate, and can it create PVCs and stuff? When you go into fight or flight, your heart rate's got to pump faster. It's got to be higher. So your heart's got to pump faster. So yeah, it can do things, but is it the actual initial cause? I don't know. I still haven't figured out what the initial cause of mine was. Now, in my field, my chosen profession, and this is completely anecdotal. There is no scientific study behind this. This is just what I've gleaned from my practice, is that sometimes folks get these that have trauma. Sometimes, keyword. So it can be anxiety, but it can also be nutrient-based, I think, in some cases. But I recommend always getting as much blood work as you can to check different things. Make sure everything's good. And eat cleaner. You know, what's it going to hurt, right? That's what I told myself. What's it going to hurt to stop eating junk, stop drinking alcohol, and all those things? Like the one previous commenter said, sugar, right? So what's it going to hurt to stop sugar for a while? You're not going to die because you don't get sugar. Gosh, I hope not. So that's what I did. I'm speaking for me. That's how I figured that out. Because I'd wake up in the middle of the night with my heart just going, couldn't breathe, and then I'd get PVCs, and it was just like a giant pain in my tuchus. So Alan, hang in there. Hang in there. Eric Ray. Gotcha, man. That damn thud sensation in the chest and neck, the shortness of breath, adrenaline rush, neck tightness, impending doom, and lately SVT is fucking anguish. I had a catheter ablation for SVT 3 years ago, and it did nothing to me. It exacerbated the PVC. So now I have PVCs causing me SVT. Jeez, dude. That's the other side of the ablations. Making things worse. So as much as I'd like to, I don't recommend ablations or not, because I'm not a doctor. I would never recommend that stuff for people because I don't know. But for me, there's the new ablation method. I think it's very new. But I don't know. I've read these kind of stories before. So hang in there, Eric Ray. I hope you find some relief somewhere. I really do. I hope you find relief soon. Not later. Not in a day or two. Now. I hope you find relief now. Fish Patty says, spot on to my video. Look at that ugly mug down there. Good gravy. Okay, Rick Turner. Do you have any childhood adverse experiences? I was just talking about trauma. And my noticing that people with trauma tend to have some of these things sometimes. So, hey, Steve, I started experiencing my first PVCs after getting the third Pfizer COVID vaccine. I'm not sure if there's a connection, but after the second shot, I had a few, and after the third, I panicked. I spent 1 to 2 years on medication, but since my PVC burden was around 50%, I decided to go for an ablation. Unfortunately, my PVCs were in the left ventricle, close to the arteries, so they tried freeze instead of burning. After 3 hours, it didn't work well, and I was left with the same issue. I tried another medication, then quit after 3 months when nothing helped. Now I'm still struggling with the PVC burden about 14 to 15%, which means about 14,000 per day. I do not know how to get rid of this. Thank you for sharing. I'll give it a try. Man. We're seeing some ablation stories here of folks that the ablation hasn't really done what it's supposed to. Now, it's not a cure-all. I mean, and most things aren't. So 14,000 per day, that is horrible. That is disgustingly horrible. And I'm sorry you have to go through that. Try to find your triggers. Now, in your case, this could be linked to the vaccine or the ablations. I don't know if there's a connection or correlation between the COVID vaccine and PVCs directly. I'll be honest with you. I looked into it for a little bit, couldn't find anything. But that may have all changed by now. There could be a lot more data out there, so don't go by what I'm saying. Again, I'm not an influencer. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you my experience and my ideas. It's important that you do your own research, your own stuff. Okay, everything here is just an idea. But I haven't read anything. I've heard stories. I've heard anecdotal stories of people having the vaccines and PVC. I've had the vaccines. Now, I went Moderna, right? Is that the right one? I don't know. And then Pfizer. So yes, I don't know. That's my answer. But medications really. Flecainide was the only thing that really worked for me in my PVCs, but that's a big badass drug to be on. So for me, and I'm only speaking for me, was that video. I've tried different things like the vegan vitality and the vitamin D before I figured out the right foods for me. That was a huge help. The vegan vitality, I think it took a couple of weeks of consistent use, but then it kicked in. But that's me, right? And I think I see, like for me, when I was having my PVC storms, is what I call them, the 23,000 a day. I feel like I know what started that, and that was a round of antibiotics that just wrecked my gut biome, just wrecked it. And only after a long time of just not eating and then introducing like fruit did it start to get better. And at that time, I'd used some yogurts too. I definitely think, in my opinion, my lay opinion, just from my experience, I think there's definitely the gut connection. So maybe for you, I don't know. Jeanette Brennan, did I give you a boops and a beeps? Yep. Great video. I'm 44 years old with a history of PVC since I was a teenager. Sounds familiar. A little older than you when I started. The episode have varied in severity, but I've been doing so well in the last year. I might have had 3 to 5 PVCs a week. Awesome! But I went out to eat today and boom! I had a pounding PVC followed by multiple PVCs in a row. So many that I started getting lightheaded, like my heart was fluttering and couldn't pump enough blood to reach my head. It scared the shit out of me. I was convinced I was going to go into cardiac arrest. They lasted for about 1 or 2 minutes and they just stopped. Ugh, my anxiety is through the roof now. I haven't been to a cardiologist in about 5 years. I used to go to address the PVCs. I've also had the echocardio, cath, stress test, EKG, etc. I do have a structurally normal heart besides a mild mitral valve regurgitation, but now I'm wondering if I should go back again, but also wonder if I'm overthinking it. These videos help immensely in bringing me back to a calm state, so thank you. You are very absolutely 100% welcome. I lost my place. Uh-oh. There we are. There we go. Whew. I want to make sure you got your boobs by the beeps. So, man, it's like you if you're around people with PVCs enough, the stories all start to come together, right? They all start to sound the same. There's like certain threads and themes that run through them. And first of all, I'm so glad that you had that period where you only have 3 or 5 a week. Outstanding. But unfortunately, now you're back to this episode that happened. That thing where you feel lightheaded and that flutter. Gosh, that's the scariest thing in the world, I think. I can handle the big thud, but those flutters, and then you get the PVCs in a row, and you get the lightheaded. So obviously, the blood's not getting up there the way it should, and that's scary as hell. And then that's what creates the anxiety loop. You start worrying about having more of those. So then your anxiety level starts kicking up. You're staying in that sympathetic nervous system a lot. So you're riding up, instead of being down here, I'm comfortable, everything's good. The anxiety starts hovering right here. It stays higher on the scale. And when that happens, in my opinion, you open yourself up to more PVCs. That's the way it was for me. Always being nervous, always worrying, the anxiety of the next run, the anxiety, it's almost like a panic attack disorder, right? When you think you're just sitting around waiting for the next panic attack to happen, right? But the difference is if you have somebody with a panic disorder, doctors will really help to try to treat that, in my experience. And in my profession, as you can see in my bio there, it's a very serious thing. But when we talk with people with PVCs and PACs and SVTs, stuff like that, we don't give it the same weight. We don't give it the same attention, the same focus, the same care. It's very serious. My personal opinion, I've worked, I don't know how many years now, in my field as a therapist. And having PVCs, and as bad as they were, was debilitating. You know, you think of different disorders, and people take it very seriously. We have awareness and all these things. But if you say PVCs, a lot of people don't know what they are. Or if it's a professional, like, they're nothing, don't worry about it. Well, the quality of life, like you're talking here now, your anxiety is through the roof. Where's your quality of life now, right? So let's talk about stress reduction, right? I think that's an important thing to think about. We often overlook how much stress externally we have. I think in general, because of the way the world is, and given the way things are now, we may be sitting with that higher level anxiety and not even be aware of it, because it's just kind of the general tone of the world in our country right now. I've seen this in people. And it may just be your life. Work may keep you at a certain level of anxiety and stress all day that you're like, I don't really think so, but maybe. And the food too. So how I look at this is multifocal, right? I look at stress, anxiety, food, and then is there a biological component, right? Is there something that's amiss organically, like in the nerves or something? So this one I usually get checked out with, I'm fine, structurally sound, everything's delightful, everything's lovely. And it's these two I have to work with. At least this is my approach so far. So then if this one's okay, then I start looking at the stress, and I start looking at food. That gut-heart connection, right? And I recommend reading Gabor Mate, The Myth of Normal and When the Body Says No, by Gabor Mate, Gabormate. Those are very profound books of how the mind, right, our psychology, our feelings can impact our health. And so when people poo-poo the idea that, anxiety can't cause these things, or at least exacerbate them, I disagree. I think they can. So those were When the Body Says No, and the other one I mentioned there, The Myth of Normal, Gabor Mate. And I think I may have put them up somewhere. Oh, in the last video, the video you watched, Jeanette, or anybody else, it's How I Reduce My PVCs. Almost to nothing. So Texture Mind Vlog says, I had a similar issue in the past. Sudden arrhythmia made of frequent PVCs and non-sustained ventricular tachycardia for 20 or 25 seconds. After 4 years, metoprolol, I reduced my PVCs to a few in a month, but I still get the sudden arrhythmia for 5 seconds every 2 or 3 months. Very random. I learned to live with it. I don't even know if it's in SVT or just been by genomism or short runs of SVT. My heart is structurally normal, 65% of EF. Ejection fraction. GG's, Texture. GG's. I'm glad you found something to work for you. I really am. I always love to hear these success stories. Rob Lincoln 10. Mine started abruptly after an episode of AFib. Out of nowhere, I absolutely hate them. I get about one a minute, and the pause and the thud always startles me. It's been 4 months, and they are continual. When I had AFib, I went to ER, and all EKGs and ECGs looked to be normal, just out of nowhere, and it drives my anxiety crazy. I had AFib as well. I don't know that I don't have AFib. I have atrial runs. I should say that. I don't have AFib. There is a wonderful discussion on AFib and food and other things on Viva Longevity. You can search on YouTube for it, where an expert talks about atrial fibrillation and things like that. So I'd recommend that. I think that would be a great place to look. But again, it's the same theme, right? Started after AFib. Jeanette, she had her experience. She went out to eat, and then boom, she had PVCs, multiple PVCs, people with elevated heart rates. So it just keeps coming and going for folks. Hang in there. Sean Carter says, oh my gosh, welcome back. Well, 9 months ago I was back, but I'm back again. Thanks, Sean. I hope you're well. Take care. Alan Whitney, 9 months ago. See how long it's been? Shame on me. I had double hernia surgery last November and was really concerned about my ectopic beats. The anesthesiast wasn't, and I got through it. Since Xmas, my palpitations have returned despite being on a better diet, losing weight, and slowly recovering from surgery. He continues, I rarely have rapid pulse, but get multiple missed beats, which is really unpleasant. They seem to be random, to be honest. Yeah. One of the things about PVCs packs and like for my SVT, sometimes it would just come out of nowhere. Just nowhere. And even now, you know, as well controlled as mine are, we're talking less than 1%. It just every once in a while I'll get one, right? I don't even really notice most of them, but I'll get one. And I think, I don't know where the hell that came from. I have no idea. Unless I'm ill. If I'm sick, then I know where that's coming from. And do I get a little more worried about it? No. I don't get too worried about it now. But I know when I get sick, I tend to eat like crap. I eat more junk food. So I'm like, I need to correct. Would be the correct thing for me to say. I need to correct and get back on the diet until I feel better. Or, you know, even after I feel better. I misspoke there. All right. Thanks a lot, Alan. Carlito's cool. Thank you for this. I've been struggling with this since 2012. For anyone reading this. Here's what changed my life and lowered my PVCs. In the order of the books, 1, read Conquer Your Heart Palpitations. Discover the unconventional solution for everlasting release. Discover the unconventional solution for everything. Books 2. Letting go. The healthier you feel, the less PVCs you will get. I hope everyone reading this finds life. Hey, we got a chatter. Daniel, I just watched your video last night on how you reduce your PVCs eating some oatmeal and similar ingredients to what you have in your mornings. Optimized it for me, though. Thanks for everything. That's the idea. You nailed it. That's the idea. This is what works for me. This is what I like. That food's what I like. I can eat that. I do eat that every day. I'm pretty sure my wife gets bored with what I eat every day. But I'm glad, Daniel. I'm very glad. I'm looking over here because that's where my chat is. My chat's... Oh, it's coming up over here, too. Sorry. Been a while. And thanks for watching the video. Oh, man. I love oatmeals. Interesting history with oatmeal. That's really awesome. Back in the day, before we had like real insulin and things like that, doctors used to treat diabetes with oatmeal. Just a little bit of history. They used to treat diabetes with oatmeal. Now, this isn't the 1 minute oats. This is the steel cut stuff, you know, the tough stuff. It was good. So I'm very glad for you, Danny. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you stopping in. Thanks for sharing. I'm curious, what are you putting in it? What do you like in yours? Is there something I should be trying? I'd like to know. I don't know these books, so I'm not going to recommend them or not recommend them. Surrender the Pathway. Let me see if I recognize it. I do disagree a little bit with the healthier you feel, the less your PVCs will get. I don't know that I agree with that one, but, you know, if it's working, keep at it. Because there are times I have felt just fantastic and had no worries in the world and got slammed. So, but check those books out, guys. They're books, right? Yeah, books. So check them out. If they work for you, work for you. If they don't, move on and carry on. So you get a bada bing, bada boop. Let's see. Michelle Little, 8219. You guys like the old videos. I like that. That's what they were for, is to give people something to go back and watch. So I'm glad that worked out. Yes, this is so right. I talked to my husband, and he says, you're fine. Stop. Don't worry. It's nothing to worry about. It's hard to live with PVCs, PAX, SVT, ventricular trigeminy, and so on, and no one around you understands. It's dismissed my family and doctors. I really just told the receptionist if this happened to her one time, she would quit being rude to me because it scares me. Good for you. I'm going to applaud you. If I could give you 2 boops and beeps, I totally would. I'm going to give you a reply. Whoops. I don't know how to type. All right. I think that agency and standing up for yourself and advocating for yourself is important, because anytime anybody will dismiss you for this, in my opinion, and this is going to be a little harsh to some people, but I've been dismissed a lot, is a jackass. They don't know. I had a doctor tell me one time she had one PVC. One. It scared her so much, she called another doctor to get pills for it. So, talk's cheap. Bad behavior is unacceptable. Everybody should applaud Michelle for taking responsibility for her health and not accepting bullshit treatment. Quality of life is important. How is it? This really gets under my skin, and Michelle, thank you for sharing it. How is it that because it's happening here and it's considered benign, that people dismissed it? They're like, well, it's all in your head. It's all in your head. It is not all in our heads. We have the strips that say PVC, SVT packs on there. We have all these strips, but they're not going to kill you. No. Anxiety won't kill you. You know? But we have anxiety awareness. We have all these awarenesses, right? But nobody wants to give us awareness for PVCs. Nobody wants to give us that respect. And we have to be, unfortunately, the people that advocate for ourselves. Don't take guff off of doctors. Or, oh my gosh. If a receptionist gave me crap, I hate that term Karen, because it sometimes applies to people that are just trying to get satisfaction or make things better. I would be that person. I would give her a lecture or him a lecture. I've lectured doctors, and I will continue to do so. They're just lucky I haven't needed to come in. All right, Daniel's in chat again. Yeah, that's interesting. Thanks. I put some strawberries, bananas, blueberries, flax seeds, chia, ground up cinnamon, some walnuts, crushed up some pumpkin seeds, some extra virgin olive oil too. Interesting. I never thought about pumpkin seeds or olive oil. Everything else I'm cool with you on. Everything else. Interesting note about walnuts. In one of the books I have, they talk about how walnuts, after about 2 hours, increases atrial functioning. So don't trust me on it. I'm not a doctor. I don't research the heart like that. But look it up. See if it's true. Test me. Test me, I say. He says, been dealing with PVC since COVID, but they got pretty freaking over the past 6 months. I've been having runs of AIVR for 15 to 30 seconds, which is probably the worst thing I've ever felt. I'm 23. Oh, you're 23. Dang, I hate to say welcome to the club, but here we are. Okay, clarify for me what AIVR is. I think I know, but I'd like for you to clarify me so I actually say this correctly. I don't like to pronounce things or come up with the wrong thing. 23. Oh, man. Gosh, that's such a lifetime ago for me, but you're just starting out. Gosh, I hope this gets better for you. I really do. Yeah, I'm curious. Explain to me what that is, just so I make sure I'm on the same page with you, Daniel. And again, thanks for coming in. And I'm going to have to think about that. Pumpkin seed and extra virgin olive oil. Now, I use extra virgin olive oil for different things, but never in that context. That's interesting. It's basically like one PVC after the other, but they aren't fast enough to be considered ventricle tachycardia. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that. See, that's horrible. That's horrible, man. Hang in there. Oh. I'm kind of flummoxed because I remember what it was like for me, and that's worse than what I had when I was your age. Good golly. What are you doing right now to help kind of cope? What are you doing to cope? Curious about that. If you don't mind sharing. You only share what you feel comfortable sharing, man. Stooby Doo. Okay, I want to do Scooby. He says, how long were you in SVT, and how many PVCs have you have? How many PVCs you have a day? Back then, I don't remember, but the most I've ever had is like the 23,000. It's somewhere around in there, a little higher, a little lower some days. How long were you in SVT? SVT didn't last too long because I do that modified. Oh my gosh. It's the one where you bear down and then you lay back and throw your legs up. When I started doing that, I could get rid of him instantly. So you just bear down for like 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, and then lay back and throw your legs up. And that always put my heart back into normal rhythm. But before I figured that out, I did a lot of like breathing, like box breathing and stuff. And it would be, I don't know, a couple, 3 minutes. Never called the ambulance on it though, because they always went away. Daniel says at a rate below 1,000 beats per minute, 100 beats per minute, and they tend to stop when the sinus node speeds back up to outpace the ventricular rhythm. So when I feel it, I just panic and walk around and panic, and they stop within 30 seconds. Ugh. Dude, I'm sorry to hear that, man. At least, okay, this is gonna sound. I hope this doesn't sound bad, but I'm glad. At least they're only 30 seconds. I'm glad they're not longer. I really am. I'm just rereading what you posted there so I could take it all in. And they tend to stop when the sinus node speeds back up to outpace the ventricular rhythm. Okay. Wow. When did you first notice that? And how did you first notice that? I'm curious. And again, I'm asking questions. If you don't feel comfortable, by all means, you don't have to answer. Donald T. Sozi, 6185. For me, they started a month back from today. I went into the ER last night because I had a bad episode whilst I was chilling after getting off of work. Scared the shit out of me. I thought all the bad foods on the drugs I used to do finally came back knocking, but my heart is completely healthy, doc said. But as we were winding down, ending the monitoring, it acted up and showed an ECG gave him pause, and now I'm waiting for the cardiologist appointment. What helps me is when I feel it, I respond to it like I'm angry. Hey, cut that out. You won't conquer me. I'll keep as many of you all as I can in my prayers. May God grant you all the strength to keep fighting. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Another approach. Right? So thanks for sharing that. And I hope everything came back okay. That's 10 months ago. So I hope everything has come back okay. If you watch this, I hope you can report back. Daniel says in chat, at least I think I know what I can do to stop them. I had my first episode last year during a bad time. I figured it was stress and electrolyte imbalances, but I've had a few other episodes since. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, each episode thankfully lasted less than 30 seconds, but the 30-second one almost made me faint. Yeah, we just had a few folks up the comments there talking about feeling faint and lightheaded. Well, hang in there. Hang in there. I plan on doing these at least once every 2 weeks or once a week on Thursday evening. So you're always welcome to come back and keep me updated if you're up to it. If you want to, right? I used to do this quite frequently, but you know, life, right? Patriot Cleaning Services says, I've been having PVCs and packs for 6 weeks straight. Every day, I'm finishing up a 30-day heart monitor now. The cardiologist is telling me nothing is wrong and I need to do meds for anxiety and stress. I have no idea what's causing the palpitations, but I wish I could find some help. Man, they go right for those anxiety meds, man. Right for those anxiety meds. Oh, man. I wish I could just speak clearly and give my opinion, but it is just that. It's an informed opinion. I've been a therapist a long time. And I cringe when doctors just throw anxiety meds. I cringe. I absolutely cringe when I hear that. But that's neither here nor there. I'm hoping you found some help. I really do. I hope you found something to help that has helped you. And thanks for stopping in. I gave you the bada bing and a bada boop. Daniel says, thanks. Your videos and community helped me out for sure. Subscribed. Of course, thanks for everything. Thank you. And thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. When I kind of started this, the idea was just to put my story out there, do some things, and then everybody just uses a resource. And so I'd pop in occasionally, like I made that one video a while back, about 9 months ago. But I'm noticing a trend that more and more people are getting these things. So I feel like I need to be more active now. So I'm going to try to be more active and do more here. We also have the Discord, which I've got to get that back up and going, but we'll get that going. I know they are hard to ignore, but... Oh, wait a minute. Who are we talking to? Wesley Seal. I know they're hard to ignore, but the more you worry, the more you'll have them. I had them bad for a while. There's some truth to that. Yes, worry, anxiety, stress will help increase them. That is true. That is very true. But for some folks that don't necessarily have worry, can still have them. But you're right. That can exacerbate them for sure. Thank you, Wesley, for coming in. Motech20 asks how I'm doing. I'm doing well. I am doing well. Bada bings, bada boops. As I said at the start of the show, things are still going well. I'm still eating my 100 grams of fiber a day. I see blueberries. I'm kind of like Daniel here. We're eating our fruits, our walnuts. Now he's using crushed up, I'm sorry, not crushed up, but he's using pumpkin seeds. I'm going to have to give that a try. Do you use the pumpkin seeds? Are they cooked? How do you get your pumpkin seeds, Daniel? I'm curious. How do you put that on? Bit of a note too for you protein lovers out there. Pumpkin seeds outrank most foods for protein content. I'm not a fan of pumpkin though. I don't like pumpkin pie necessarily. Motech, I'm doing good. Yeah. I'm a little on the way. I got a little bit of like kind of a sinus thing going on up here, so I'm a little nasally. The temperature's dropping here. We get warm days, cold nights, cold days, cold nights, warm days. It's a delight. And my nose itches a lot. Nitro Viper, great name. I hate them. I had them for 20 plus years. Sometimes they are way worse than others. Last 3 days, every time I sit down, they come on like crazy. 20 to 30 strong was for a few minutes. You notice any triggers or anything, Nitro? I mean, I did this, and this is why I ask if people have do it, is finding triggers. Food, 100% will be a trigger. Stress, anxiety is a trigger. Antibiotics were gosh, how do I say that? They created such a firestorm of PVCs. I took the antibiotics. It destroyed my stomach biome. 23,000+ a day, almost into an ablation. Hi, Tippy. Are you back, my friend? Tippy's back. That's why I asked for triggers, right? Because I've gone back and kind of columboed some of this stuff and figured this stuff out for me. Again, you have to find out what it is for you. And by doing triggers or journaling is such a wonderful thing. Now, for some guys, they're going to be like, I'm not journaling. Some girls are like, I'm not journaling. I got time for that shit. Maybe you don't have time for it. But when I started writing these things down, you can kind of see cause and effect in some certain circumstances. So just an idea, maybe do some journaling. I'm just checking on everything, make sure everything looks good. We're still good. So hang in there. Maybe check your triggers. I'm always curious about triggers. Oh, see, Daniel said, I just take a bit less than a handful of regular pumpkin seeds and toss them in there. High magnesium, so I tell myself it helps. Well, I'm going to have to try it. There are a lot of wonderful things in pumpkin seeds. You got me thinking about it, Daniel. Thank you. There seems to be a link with PVCs and gut microbiome. Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly. Do I have evidence of that on the scientific literature? No. So, again, I'm not an influencer. Don't listen to anything I tell you. But for me, there's a direct connection between the old gut and the heart. That's why I recommend reading Gabor Mate's books when the body says no in the myth of normal, because he's going to do a much better job than I am going to do of talking about just the body stress and the impact. I mean, we're talking about the impact of stress, trauma, and disease, right? Now, that is a little bit centric because it's written by a mental health professional, much like me, so we get a little centric sometimes. But when you look at the mental health side of things and the diet side of things, I think you give yourself a better chance of helping yourself with PVCs and stuff like that. For me, it worked very well. For you, I don't know. I'm saying find what works for you. Thank you, Daniel. I gotta write pumpkin seeds down. Give me just a second here. Pumpkin seeds. Something else I use too is black cumin. I couldn't tell you what the health benefits of that right now because I don't have my literature around here, but I like black cumin too. I use that with pepper, and man, does it gives like what I cook a different kind of flavor, kind of a richer flavor. What's the word I'm looking for? Savory. That's the word. Bada bing. That's what I do. Bada bing, bada boop. Please check out Dr. Berg's advice on hiatal hernia massage and manipulation. I've been suffering from 8 to 14 PVCs for 6 days straight. Been to the ER and cardiologist and have cardio tests scheduled and immediately reduced my racing heart. And I'm having about 1 PVC per minute now since I did this 3 hours ago. I forgot I have a hiatal hernia that showed up on a CT scan years ago. I've heard this too, hiatal hernia. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Dr. Bergs, okay. I'm going to write that down too. Let's take a look. That's one of the early things I checked was for the hiatal hernia. I don't have a hiatal hernia. Thank you. Thankfully, I do not. So I'm glad you saw some relief. GG's to you. Bada bing. I'm going to give you a bada bing and a boop. Bada boop, bada bing. Shelly White. I get all this year explaining they are absolutely horrible. Mine are so forceful. They make me feel like I'm about to pass out. Feels like they shake my brain. They go away and come back with an absolute vengeance. You do literally think you're going to die. It actually makes you feel so depressed, and the anxiety is unreal. I've been ignored by multiple doctors. They look at you like you're nuts, but it's horrible to live either when you're waiting for your heart to just give up, and it's a constant worry. I've had these things for 15 years, and they're getting worse. Nope, doctors won't do F all about them. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you the bada bing, bada boops. Yeah, see, that's the thing. We're back to the doctor thing again. And I'm a broken record on this. I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole again, but advocate. Fire them, get new ones, do what you can, get somebody to listen. And I'm going to say this, not because it's my profession necessarily, but you don't even have to go to a therapist, which I recommend to just check in on things, is to do that journaling. Check in on yourself. How's life? No, how's life really? Right? So I still recommend that. Switch KS83. Have you considered a PVC ablation? Yes, back when I was having 23,000 plus a day. I've had them, but my burden isn't high enough. My mom, unfortunately, just above 20%, and she is scheduled this month for an ablation after suffering for years. Yeah, I was considered once, and I turned it down because I wanted to do more research. And again, like I said, I'm kind of glad I didn't. But if that's what works, then that's what works. There is a new ablation out there. I know that's a year ago, right? That comment. So I hope that helped. Flynn Mixdorf. I fucking love this thread. I've had these things for a few years now. I started when I was 24 and I'm 28 now. Get the occasional ones like you've described, nowhere near the 20% total burden to be considered for an ablation or even medication at this point. For me, started right toward the end of lockdown when I was working remotely, drinking a ton, and sleeping very badly. Bad conditions for mental health. Got an echo and a monitor done at that point, And when I was told they were benign, I was initially sort of shell-shocked. What the fuck do you mean they're benign? It feels like someone is shaking a jar of pennies around on my rib cage. That may be the best description I've heard yet. Anyway, when I started working in a restaurant again after lockdown, and did somehow, being in fast-paced, face-to-face environment, turn down the volume on my amount of anxiety about my PVCs. I lost my place here, sorry. I still got them about as much as before, but being around people constantly running my ass off to get drinks and tacos to people made them feel more manageable. I could be standing, taking an order at a table, feel 3 hard PVCs in a row, and not even blink. Fast forward, now I'm on my 3rd year of grad school, spending a lot of time alone, a lot of time preparing for public speaking, and the fear is back. All is to say the symptoms are fucking real, and anybody who writes me off as making shit up on my head can kick rocks. But also the environment I find myself in seems to have enormous impact on how I'm able to cope with these. If you can get yourself surrounded by people you dig and who dig you, it may not be a perfect solution, but it might be a solve for how fucked up these things feel sometimes. I personally can't wait to be done with grad school and back in a work environment where I feel less alone, where the volume on my fear gets turned down simply by being around good people. Finding this video and comment thread has done me that for me tonight. So thank you, Stephen, and thank you for all making me feel less alone. PVCs can suck on these. That is hilarious. That is funny. I'm sorry you are suffering. But yes, environment plays a key. So does connection. Having people around you that can support you, be there for you, and understand can make a huge difference. And I'm going to give you a big bada bing bada boop. And that's where we're going to leave it. We're up to a year ago. We'll keep going through. Maybe we'll get some new comments we can wade through. All right, so let's go back here. Let me close this, and we're back. All right, that's about it. We're 1 hour and 7. And I appreciate Daniel for coming in. That was very nice. I appreciate your courage. I appreciate your willingness to share. We'll see how things go. I have some ideas for a couple of videos. I mean, I've spoken about this topic for quite some time. And I don't want to repeat myself, but I think we're coming into an era where I'm just hearing generally more and more people are having PVCs, packs, SVT, and they're new. And we still have people who've had them for a long time that are still experiencing these things considerably, that are considerably impactful. So I'm trying to figure out how to make this channel work under that context without repeating myself over and over again. So if you have any ideas, throw them in there somewhere. I'm happy to listen. All right, gang. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You're wonderful people. You deserve to be treated better. You deserve to have people listen to you, and you deserve to have a quality of life that is awesome. And PVCs take that away. All right. We'll catch you later. Bye-bye.